There's a thin line between inspiration and imitation, and it's called plagiarism. This is Radiohead's 1992 classic song, Creep. It sold more than 390,000 copies.
You float like a feather in a beautiful world.
And this is Get Free by US pop star Lana Del Rey.
This is my commitment, my modern manifesto.
The similarity between the songs has now led to a copyright dispute. Del Rey says the British rockers are suing her and want 100% of the publishing royalties. Radiohead denies claims of a lawsuit, but still wants credit. Now here's the twist. Radiohead itself was sued for plagiarism over Creep. Their song has the same melody as this piece by the Hollies from 1974. Its writers, Albert Hammond and Mike Hazelwood, successfully sued Radiohead in 2013. And Radiohead now shares Creep's writing credits and royalties with them. So, with Radiohead now claiming the rights to a song they stole, this case could become as tortured as the songs themselves.
You just put in style the day I saw your white Mustang.
And joining me now from Saskatoon in Canada is Kurt Dahl. He's an entertainment lawyer and drummer of the rock band One Bad Son. Kurt, great to have you back on Money Talks. First things first, I want you to put your musician's hat on. How similar are Creep and Get Free, in your opinion?
I think there's definitely some similarities, especially in the verses, and it's pretty hard to deny. The choruses are different, I would say. So I think that Radiohead should get something, but not 100%.
Okay, so how much then do you think Radiohead could potentially squeeze out of Lana Del Rey?
Well, if she actually did offer 40%, I think that's not a bad offer. Maybe push it to 50% and call it a day. But the reality is, I mean, there's only so many chords out there. So, and there is original aspects of her song.
So any idea of a potential dollar figure that 40 or 50% might work out to?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, it really depends on how much money is earned going forward, so that you can't really pinpoint it right now, because all the money would be on a going forward basis, I believe. So it really depends on how big her song gets. It's been getting a lot of attention, that's for sure.
Look, The Guardian posed an interesting question last year. It said, has pop finally run out of tunes? Are we just going to see more and more accusations of plagiarism as we go forward? Has the art of songwriting truly died?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm an optimist, though, but I think there's a lot of great songs left to be written. I just think you need to be careful once you've written a song. Be mindful of the fact that you might be infringing someone's intellectual property. And I mean, it can happen quite innocently. In Keith Richards' book, I love how he talks about how they plagiarized Katie Lang by accident. And it was just Mick was at the club the night before, heard her song, and came in the next day with this great idea for a melody. So, you know, it can creep into your subconscious.
That's exactly the point, isn't it? That so much of that process of songwriting is subliminal. You're cueing off of all sorts of things, and then when you actually get into the studio and write it all down, you probably are pretty divorced from that part of the process.
Yeah, well, it's like that old saying, you know, immature poets imitate, mature poets steal. Yeah. So I just think if you're going to steal, you got to be careful, even if it's unintentional, and be prepared that you might get sued in 2018.
In your music career, Kurt, did you come across any instances where someone may have pointed to you and said, that sounds like something I did a while ago?
We haven't had that. I haven't gotten any such letters yet, which is great. But, you know, there's a couple songs where after we recorded it, you know, I heard some similarities to other songs, but I mean, again, it's the idea of that, where's that line between inspiration and plagiarism, right? It's a very fine line, and I think if I had heard any song of ours that was a really blatant ripoff, I think I would have reached out to the other writer. But so far, so good.
I'm going to pose a really controversial question to you. Look, with all these lawsuits flying about, aren't the real beneficiaries, financial beneficiaries in all of this, the lawyers like your good self? But not you personally, of course, Kurt.
No, it's a great question. It's a fair point. I mean, for me, I'm always a musician first. And I think you're right. A lot of lawyers benefit off this. I mean, I always take the opinion that if you can sell it without lawyers, that's better, right? I mean, these disputes, you know, when you need a lawyer, there's usually something wrong between the parties in terms of, you know, they can't reach an agreement. So I'm all for artists settling this out of court and saving, you know, millions of dollars in legal fees.
Right, we are running out of time. Kurt Dahl, music lawyer, thank you ever so much for your time.